Hello everyone, we are back where we left on the last episode. We are here on the Black Sun about to start. I'm level 62. I took the liberty to farm one more time Fall of the Outcast, and I unlocked the other path by choosing the option of the level 62, and in the process I dropped Woven Flesh. Again, this unique drops from the boss here at the Fall of the Outcast. We talked about it on the last episode at the end, and this is really important because it gives you, as you can tell, 100% crit avoidance, which makes you, well, immune to crit. Now obviously we're gonna replace our current chest piece in order to get the crit avoidance and not die to it, right? Right now we don't have any crit avoidance, but obviously that's gonna mess a bit with our protections. We're gonna lose a bit of damage, we're gonna lose a lot of mana. So we're gonna have to do some re-gearing. So let's go to the hub in order to do so. Again, right now we're going into a very heavy void zone, and well, that's gonna be very important. The first things that we're gonna have to fix. First of all, let's go to our gear. We've got some lining gear that we found if we ever do play lining later on, which is like a better element for endgame. We can keep this for later. And all of this material stuff we can just keep here, which can be really useful. Increase health, really nice. Lots of spell damage. All of this is really nice. This ring is actually pretty decent. Necrotic health, void resistance belt. We might need this. We're gonna keep it here. Okay, movement speed, dexterity, armor. The movement speed is always nice, so just like get it if we can. Fist damage, mana, good relic, physical resistance, vitality, increase health. Really good helmet actually. Increase health, a lot of health. Let's take a look at all the stuff that we've been gathering, right? And we're gonna see what we're gonna equip. We're not gonna use that. Vitality Pierce, pretty nice. Then Necrotic with health, pretty nice. Void and Necro resistance, again, pretty nice. Crit and physical damage, no. An Arena Key, Necrotic resistance with mana regen, it's also pretty nice, but it's not the best, right? So we're gonna sell the uniques, buy the Shatter runes, because we always want that. Movement speed, vitality, fist resistance, it's not that bad actually. I'm actually gonna use this. And now we're gonna take a look at, this is also pretty nice, and now we're gonna take a look at what do we have. Okay, so let's take a look at our resistances. Right now our elemental resistances are looking basically fixed, so we don't need any elemental resistance at the moment. Our physical resistance is also solved, and we need to work mainly, our poison is fine like this, it's not that important to cap it since we're not really facing, but Void and Necrotic, especially Void for the things we're gonna do now, is the most important. So let's take a look at slots where right now we don't have any stat, right? We were using this leech rate. Again, I don't think we need this anymore because we're starting to do more damage, and we're getting the leech from here, right? Overkill damage from leech and increase the damage leech as health. So basically the leech that we lose from taking these gloves on, we're getting it back from having this chest piece pretty much. We're getting armor from it, we're getting increased HP, so we're still pretty good on HP, etc. Now let's take a look at what options do we have for gear. This relic, Poison, Necrotic Res, is not that great, right? I think this one with Void and Necrotic Res is way better. We lose a bit of resistances here and there, but it's not a huge deal, right? So let's see what we can do. Alright. Vitality, increased health, physical resistance, pretty huge. This is pretty huge, and with crit chance too. It's not that great, it's just 10%, but it's a lot of life here. We have crit, physical resistance, health. This helmet is actually pretty damn nice. But obviously we would like to get more physical resistance if we need it, right? We have physical resistance here and poison resistance and cold damage. This ring is okay, but it's damaged. Let's see what options we have for rings. Again, this is pretty nice. Fist resistance, mana regen, and the 4 vitality. So ideally we want to level this up a bit more. So here we had a tier 4. If we can get a tier 5 fizz resistance here, it would be really good. But first of all, we would like to get some health if possible, or some void resistance. Again, some spell damage would be nice here. Just a single tier, you know, it's 96%, why not? And now we go back for the physical. Again, I'm not gonna risk it, I'm just gonna go straight for the Guardians. We get the 40%, really big, right? So let's take a look at how our resistances are looking now. We lost a bit of elemental because we're not using a gold ring anymore, but it's gonna be fine, we're gonna fix it, right? Again, this ring is also looking pretty good, lots of health. Ideally, you wanna add health into this ring. But let's see what other options we have. So we have another ring with a spell damage and crit chance with vitality, right? Really, really nice, 6 vitality. Open suffixes, so we can do whatever we want with this. Let's see what we're gonna do. Spell damage, necrotic res, elemental res. This ring actually pretty fucking big right now. Because we need necrotic res, we need spell damage, and we need elemental res. So let's see what we can do with it. Elemental res would be nice, just to begin with. Hopefully it doesn't break. Okay, pretty good. Now we want the necrotic res. We don't wanna fuck around with this. Again, if we break it, we don't really have a replacement. And it's not like this ring is gonna be an endgame ring anyway. We're just gonna go for the Guardians. We don't wanna mess too much with it. Tier 5, 40%, pretty fucking nice. Let's see how much elemental resistance we're missing. Ideally want just a bit more elemental resistance. Necrotic is looking good, really nice. Let's see how much necrotic we can get. How much elemental. Before we go for the elemental, we could see how much, for example, something like mana regen, like a single tier 1, 97%, no damaging. Boom, we go for it, and we get the 10% just to get it, you know. And now we basically craft an elemental until we have a chance to damage, pretty much. I mean, 13% chance to damage. I'm gonna YOLO. Okay, with tier 5, 18%, pretty nice. And again, 0% chance to damage, so we're literally not losing anything for trying this, right? But we need to be level 63. Pretty good ring. Spell damage tier 5, necrotic resistance tier 5, elemental resistance tier 5. The spell damage roll pretty low, but it is what it is. So again, this is pretty much an endgame ring for us at the moment, and it comes with a bunch of regen, mana regen, which can be useful. And we're getting 2 regen from that, pretty nice. Plus we're getting, obviously, our necrotic res, or elemental res, and a shit ton of damage, right, with the increased spell damage. Okay, what else? We could be using Outcast Gloves at the moment, since we have necrotic resistance, and this will help us cap our necrotic resistance. And if we had necrotic resistance somewhere else, like for example idols, we can get rid of it now, right, since it's not gonna be that important. For example this, we can just get rid of that, right? I don't know what else. These ones are pretty good. This health on kill, this 2 vitality, this is pretty nice. This is pretty useless now. So again, we make room for more stuff. Again, our poison resistance kind of got messed up, but it's fine. Okay, things we can get on this. We have our necrotic res. Again, keep in mind our boots are also open now, because we were using it for the movement speed, because these boots have 30% movement speed, 35. But now with this, that have 18 plus 13, we're pretty much just getting there in terms of movement speed. And this comes with physical resistance, vitality, right? Let's see what other options we have for boots, if we found anything. This is to type boots. Doing this thing that I'm doing, you know, looking over your gear. We have a cold resistance boots here that could be pretty nice. Elemental resistance, crit avoidance boots. We don't need the crit avoidance, right? So it's useless. Movement speed, dodge. We don't really care about dodge. Ideally, these ones are pretty nice. This is kind of like what we're looking for, right? Because it comes with movement speed, vitality, poison resistance, and that we just lost, and void resistance, which we need for the future. So these are pretty good contenders. And then, yeah, those are basically the best contender. Ideally, you would want a base that comes with resistances. For example, like this one that comes with cold resistance. But since we're a mage, it's not a huge deal. So let's see what we can make with this. I'm gonna keep this just in case. These are also pretty nice for the fizz res. But I think these ones, for our needs right now, which are poison and void res, these are the best, basically. The vitality is also nice, we're gonna get HP from it. Oh, those are broken. Fuck. Everything I said is basically irrelevant, basically. Let's go for these ones instead. Let's try to not fuck this up. Unlucky. So maybe you. Again, these boots are pretty horrible. So I think I'm just gonna. I have some gold, right? So I think I'm just gonna gamble for Herborian boots. And third eye. There's different poison and necrotic res. Again, as we know, right now we don't really need the necrotic res. We could see if we could get already Crusader gloves, which I don't think we can. Crusader gloves are a higher level. But let's see what we can get. We're looking at the endurance gloves are also pretty good. And Herborian boots is our main objective here. We are looking basically for Herborian boots with movement speed. Herborian with, because the intelligence armor, not horrible, but Herborian boots with movement speed is our goal. Let's see if we get lucky.
Looks powerful.
Movement speed, crit avoidance tier 5, attunement. The crit avoidance right now is not useful, but those are boots that could help us later when we want to get rid of this chest piece. So let's keep going for it. Again, we have a lot of gold, right? So this is what gold is for. Let's see. You can also filter here, you know, Herborian. So you just have easy access to them. We can sell this now, we're not gonna use it.
That's a winner.
Movement speed, crit avoidance, fist resistance. These ones are pretty good. Ideally you wanna get how you say it, you want to get some sort of HP on your suffix, but these ones are pretty good. I don't have that much movement speed, so I'm gonna try to gamble boots with a bit of a higher movement speed, because I only have 4 shards. So let's see if we get lucky. Those are white boots. Okay, that's a pretty good top. Hopefully we get something useful here.
Excellent choice. A fine choice. Give good eye. Looks powerful.
Alright. Elemental resistance, vitality, fire res, physical resistance, strength, increased armor. Not horrible boots, but again, it's not what we're looking for, right? We're looking for that juicy movement speed. That's what we're really going for, right? Again, all of this doesn't really work for us.
Want to go again?
No.
Not bad.
Movement speed, fist res. These are kind of fine. But again, it's very low movement speed, just tier 1. Oops, I skipped a boot.
Not bad.
Movement speed, crit avoidance, fist res. Everything's fist res, crit avoidance. And crit avoidance is obviously something we're not that interested right now, because we just got the chest piece with crit avoidance, right?
A fine choice.
Crit avoidance.
Excellent choice.
Movement speed, necrotic resistance. Again, we're gonna destroy like the ones that come with movement speed, so we can use it to craft on the boots that we actually get. Again, we're looking for anything with just like, give me a tier 4 movement speed, or this is not bad.
Maybe it'll help you along the way.
This is not bad. Elemental resistance, vitality. As we mentioned, we want to get some HP, so we could just go movement speed here. Since we have a bit more movement speed now. We could go hybrid health here, just a point in hybrid health. Just so we get the 3%. And now we just guardian the movement speed. And hopefully we don't break it on this last roll. Again, decent boots for the moment. It's a bit unlucky that we break it. But again, now our elemental resistances are covered. Or necrotic is covered. And we can start working towards our void resistance on our other pieces. Okay, that's decent though. That's decent. Sometimes RNG will be like that, right? That you will break stuff. But what can you do? You know, what can you do? Void resistance, necro resistance. Again, now we want big void resistance gear. So again, how is our physical resistance looking? We could also do something with this, because this belt is pretty decent actually. But we could get physical resistance from other places. We could also get void resistance in this, guys. We could go for also HP. But I think I'm just gonna go for void resistance here. I was trying to sneak, get HP there, but we're just gonna go for Voidress. Again, 80% YOLO, you know. And now we're just gonna Guardian and hope for the best. Again, no damaging, so there's no risk. Now we have the risk. Hopefully it doesn't break. It didn't break, 34. It would be nice if it's a bit higher, but it's fine. And then we want the spell damage, right? At the moment, 0% damaging. We can go for it. And we get the critical success. These two rings are actually pretty good. Again, our void resistance is looking nice. We got our elemental rest when we use teleport, right? And now all we need is a bit of more void resistance, which we can just get here, for example, you know, really easily. Void resistance, slap some void rest here.
You have my approval.
Okay, Dark Wook with the gifted subs. Thank you very much, sir. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Hello, Metal. Hello, Bullet. Hello, Dark. And thank you very much for the gift us. I appreciate it. How are you guys doing? We got the Void Rest, 33. We're gonna use Refinement. Hopefully it rolls a bit higher. 34, 35, 31, 35, 42. That's better. We're not gonna get some crit multi, for example. Right, crit multi is really nice here. It broke, so unlucky. But we can use this for the moment. This is definitely not something we want to keep forever. So again, now our Necro Rest is a bit overcapped, which means when we get rid of these gloves, we're still gonna get Necrotic Rest. And we're gonna be able to get the base Crusader gauntlets at around level 70. That give us 40% void resistance on the implicit, and then we will get rid of this basically. I'll drop this, drop that, get my Necrotic Rest from idols or whatever, and do that shifting basically. And here, again, we just want some HP at the moment. Again, a tier 1 hybrid health would work. Hybrid. I don't have it apparently. Let's see if I have some on my gear. The easiest way to find this is belt. No hybrid health. These are pretty nice. No hybrid health. Percentage health, no. Let's see, gloves. We're looking for hybrid health, like I mentioned. Nope. There it is. And hopefully we get it. We got it. That's really Epoch. We get the 2 hybrid health. 1 is enough, and then we just add regular health, you know, just to get a big chunk of health. These gloves are gonna be replaced soon. We got lucky with the crit. And then we can get cast speed here, for example, just to attack a bit faster. We could get intelligence, crit chance, you know, since we lost a bit of crit chance. That works, you know. And just like that, we are ready. We're ready to frag, and now we have all our resistance covered. We're lacking a bit of poison res, but what can you do, you know? We have this that we can use later. And at the moment we know we could use, this is lightning damage, which we're not doing, sadly. I got only lightning idols, but you could have gotten cold idols, right? You could have gotten stuff that is good for your build. We might need this in the future. I don't think I'm gonna need that. And let's see if there's something else we can use. We can go idol. Let's see, elemental resistance with freeze rate. I mean, maybe, why not? Elemental resistance with freeze rate, why not? Lightning resistance, ward on hit, I mean, maybe. All of these are pretty bad, honestly. Fire damage, not really. Fire resistance, not really. Cold damage, sure. We're doing cold damage, right? So I think I'm gonna go for a cold damage, and then I'm gonna use the small ones with like a bit of armor or whatever. Fire damage, no. Or maybe one of these. I mean, the lightning rest is a bit useless, honestly. Cold damage and armor with lightning rest, why not? I'll use that. This ones I can just drop here. This I can drop. I'll probably use this in the future. This is pretty good for later. This I can keep for later too, just in case. And I can keep my arena key for the future. Keep this unique in case I fracture my boots or something. And now another thing that we can do is we can try to get a better weapon, since we have a bit of gold left. And now we can get Mirage stuff. And there it is. This one has 80 adaptive spell damage, and our current one has only 850. So, once again, Darbook, thank you very much for the gift as men in the chat, I appreciate it. We're looking for a staff kind of like the one I have, you know, with the spell damage. Spell damage, cold damage, and good implicit. Fire damage, unlucky. 65, that's basically minimum roll implicit, so it's not gonna cut it for us. Seems like we don't have that much. All of these are pretty bad. I'm gonna go sell my key to get my money. One of my keys, because I'm not gonna use them at the moment. And I'll buy this with the money I make. And hopefully it's good. If not, we'll just wait. Critical multiplier. 79. I mean, this could be nice. If we remove the elemental damage over time, it can be nice. If not, it's just a waste. Well, sometimes you get lucky just like that, you know. We got the spell damage. Crit multi is pretty good for us. Again, we want the slow chance because we don't have it on our build. And now we go for the spell damage. We break our weapon. You can just see with our current weapon we're at 16k. With this weapon we would be at 17k, and that's before we even start. We haven't even crafted on it yet, right? This has like tier 5. Again, we're gonna break this, so we know we're already in the positives when it comes to damage. We got 1 spell damage, which is pretty sad. We're gonna go for Guardians here. We got 85, and let's see if we can get more spell damage somewhere. Spell. I know I grabbed a bunch of spell damage stuff. So we shatter. We didn't get it. Really great. Elemental. Please give me spell damage. We got the spell damage we wanted. And hopefully we don't break it, right? 80%. We didn't break it. And we don't have Guardians at the moment, so I would stop crafting here. But if as soon as I drop a Guardian, I will use this spell damage into the weapon. And you can see right now we're at 19. If we use our entire combo, right, we're at 23. So again, pretty big damage increase. And now we can go for the Black Sun. Again, this character, as it is right now, it's pretty much set up to do. We can do basically the entire Monolith timeline now without worrying too much. So let's try to zoom this. Again, we're gonna target XP nodes. We're gonna try to go as fast as possible, and we're gonna kill, try to kill the boss as fast as possible, basically. And that's pretty much it. Let's go. Again, keep in mind we're waiting for that Guardians, so maybe we can apply it on our weapon. All of this is nice for us, so why not? Oh, there's the objective. Also, I need to take a look at what happened to my glacier tree, because I don't know if you guys remember, but we lost skill points on our glacier tree. Due to getting woven flesh. Nice. Increase health. Pretty nice. And now we just gotta do this as fast as we can. Someone's asking me in the chat, is the new crit discussion confirmed? Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's confirmed that internally they're changing how crit is gonna work in the game, how it's gonna work with gear. And my personal take on it is that it looks like a horrible idea, but we will see what the devs do, you know. Maybe they know something that we don't. Best way to put it. Okay, we're level 17, so the idea now would be to get 2 points here, 1 point here, lose a point here, and get it here. What I'm gonna do, because we get the damage versus bosses, we'll get this big damage on the large explosion, and now I'm gonna grab this 30% hit damage against shields, because this is another multiplier, and this 50% per point. So basically my big explosion will do a lot of damage, and we need 1, 2, 3, 4 points in order to get it right. It's gonna take a while to get there though, so let's go. Yeah, I'm a bit concerned about the crit stuff, but I don't know. You know, I've been concerned about stuff in the past that it ended up being not that bad, or that it ended up being good after some changes, right? For example, I think the current defense system in the game, it's worse and more simple than the one we had previously, right? With the numerical defenses and stuff. But I think right now it's so much better than when they first implemented. Like right now it's pretty good, right? The current defense system. I think the main issue is that all classes build the same, but the system itself is not bad, you know. With the introduction of you know, the changes to armor, the addition of endurance, the addition of damage reduction from other sources, and I got the intuition that now with legendaries coming next patch, it's gonna get even better, right? Because we probably, I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if. I've been playing a bit of PoE lately. I wouldn't be surprised if legendaries introduce something like fortify charges and endurance charges and things like that. You know, where you can build certain defense stats thanks to like legendary bases and so on that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that gets introduced, you know, for the people who want to get into endgame and mid-maxing. So I think with more additions to the system, more layers, the system is actually gonna it will end up being good. Right now it's just we just got given the skeleton at the beginning, and obviously if you just look at the skeleton, you go like, where's the bones? Where are the muscles, right? Like, where is the skin? You can only see a small part of it. So again, I'm optimistic, but we will see, right? We will see. I mean, if I wasn't optimistic, right, about last Epoch, because I see the game getting better, it's like sometimes the development slows down quite a bit, and that's kind of like not concerning, you know, but it's like, damn, I've been playing this game for so long. I kind of want the game to be ready, right? It's more like that. So yeah. I would like the game to kind of like start getting close to release. We'll get gems in this game like D3. You mean like socket system? They mentioned we're gonna get a socket system, Darwook, but they've said it will not be like Diablo 3. So it's not gonna be like, you know, gems that just give you percentage damage, percentage defense. It's gonna be, gems are not gonna be just like the same thing you can get on your gear, but more of it. It's gonna be something unique. I have a suspicion, Darwook, that the socket system in this game is gonna be through the Lost Memories. If you take a look at the Last Epoch website and you go to the section that says Endgame Systems, you will see they have like a small teaser of what that's gonna be. And it basically looks like you're gonna do certain content that is like scripted, You know, like you're gonna defeat. Let's just say you go and you fight against a very strong poison hunter, right? And that's the lore of the character you're fighting, right? When you defeat him, he's gonna drop like a little crystal thingy, like a memory they call it, and you're gonna be able to put that on your gear, and then you will get some of, you know, if the boss you defeated was like thematic on poison, their worth is gonna be kind of like around that, right? And maybe you're now able to apply poisons with your spells or something, or with your attacks, or you have a poison aura around you, or who the fuck knows, right? So that's kind of like what I'm expecting sockets to be. Kind of be like enchantments, basically. Basically enchantments from like PoE or something like that. And I assume they're gonna be really like early game enchantments and super late game ones that are super hard to get. Like, I don't know, imagine if you can get something like your attacks still have a chance to deal double damage or something like that, right? Like in PoE. I don't know, we'll see. That's an exalted item, this purple. You can see it dropped like a purple stat right there. Well, you guys can see it, but you can see it has a purple stat here, and that's drop only. You can only craft up to tier 5, like my ring, right? You can see tier 5, max craftable. And this right here is tier 6. So you can drop tier 6 and tier 7s, but you cannot craft them. You can craft anything else around it, but you cannot do it higher than, you know, tier 5. Okay. Let's keep going. I don't know, do we got a Guardian already? We have a Guardian. Remember, guys, that I mentioned that I wanted to get the spell damage? Well, 6% chance of damaging, please don't break. Okay, 160. It's a pretty decent roll. I'm gonna keep it. And I don't have Guardians at the moment, but I will go for the crit multi after I'm done. And you can see right now my damage is 27. So we got 10k DPS over the previous weapon that had 17. So we basically, you know, almost doubled our DPS by doing this upgrade. Again, like I've been mentioning through the entire series, it's really important that you keep in mind what is the next base available to you, what weapon, right? And you always try to grab it, right? Okay, we're getting into the good points now. We have enough passive points to grab the top tier points. We need 49, right? We get the cooldown recovery speed. These are huge, and we also get the maximum. The flat damage is tripled if we have 200 damage. So instead of getting 5 adaptive spell damage, you would get 15. Right now, I don't have 200 mana because I changed my gear. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spec into the cooldown recovery. And when I get 200 mana, I will start putting points into here, because obviously without the 200 mana, the value is not as good. Whereas the cooldown reduction, it's always full value, right? No matter what your mana is, no matter what your gear is. And cooldown is really important, you know, for things like teleport, things like flame ward. Cooldown is damage, basically, and survivability and everything else. So let's go. That's Dark Wook is saying in the chat that that's what he likes about this game, is the layers of depth. I mean, yeah, and we want even more, right? Because right now I think the gearing in this game is really good and it's really solid. It's like, right now the gearing of this game is like a nice cake, but we still don't have the cherry, right? We have a really nice cake, it has all the layers, it's really nice, right? But we just don't have the cherry. Sorry, Darkwook, for assuming your gender once again. You know what is funny? Because I'm Spanish, basically the way we say he and she in Spain is kind of like the opposite in English. So I think it's pretty common for Spanish people to like use masculine and feminine in at the wrong time. Basically, that happens to me a lot. Like when I lived in the UK, Like, maybe it's just something that happens to me, but I would speak to a friend, and by mistake I would use like I would say him when I had to say her, and things like that. But I don't know. I think it's just because the way it translates it. I know other Spanish people that have the same, so I assume that's the reason. Ooh, crit avoidance with mana, pretty nice. Okay, we're going again. We're grabbing everything that has experience, right? These experience rewards, because obviously right now our objective is to level up. We want to go as fast as possible. The gear we're getting right now, it's gonna be as soon as we get level 70, 76 or whatever. We have access to the good bases, right? The higher level bases. All of our gear is basically gonna be obsolete. So it's better to focus, in my opinion, on the XP and getting there faster than on trying to get good gear now that is gonna be obsolete regardless. We got Poison Res, I think, right? Poison Res. This Lightning Res is useless, because we're lacking a bit of Poison Res, right? So again, like I mentioned, Poison Res is not that important at the moment. It's very important when you're doing Chapter 9, because everything there does poison damage, but it's fine here. As you can tell, my damage is... I'm just fucking steamrolling this. I'm gonna kill the boss. Let's go for the other guy. We have to kill another 2 of these guys. Cliff of Stability, really nice. Let's kill this guy that gives the damage reduction to nearby enemies, and now we focus on the boss. Get our damage reduction going with the static orb. Let's proceed. How to gear? Darwook is asking me also in the chat how to gear against damage over time, since armor doesn't work. Yeah, so basically if you build armor, it's just this only protects, this mitigation only helps versus hits. So if you wanna be protected against dots, you have different sources to do that. Obviously the most important source would just be to have your resistances capped, right? Since the dots are gonna be some of the damage types that you can gear against. So that would be the first step, number 1. The second step would be to get damage reduction from other sources. For example, if you take a look at Flame Ward, right? This, for example, does reduced elemental damage taken. You know, this will apply to elemental damage dots like Ignite, right? So this 30% less damage taken will apply to any dot that is elemental, you know. So that's pretty important. Any damage reduction that specifies it just hits is not gonna do anything against dots. For example, the damage reduction that I'm getting from Blinding Aegis, which is this thing, also gives me, you can see it here, Blinding Aegis grants 25% less damage taken, so this will apply to damage over time also. And then you can also have access to damage over time mitigation on Oracle Amulet, which is a kind of base. So it goes on your amulet. It's like the highest level amulet. I think it's level 76, 70s, I think it's 76. Oracle Amulet, and it comes with up to 15, I think it's 15 or 20% damage reduction for damage over time. But in this game, damage over time, most of the time, you don't want to get hit by it if it's just a pull on the floor. And if it's a damage over time that has a charge on you, right, and you can see the stacks on you, what you want to use is you want to use this. You want to use, You want to use this Ward and Ailment Cleansing on Potion use. So basically what this does is that if you have like 20 stacks of poison, if you use a potion, it will completely cleanse it. So you basically remove it and you don't take any damage before the dot ticks. So basically what you want to do is like when you see that a bunch of poison enemies or ignite enemies come at you and you see that they apply their ignites, when you see that their ignites are being applied, then you use a potion to preemptively basically cleanse it. That's been introduced this patch and it's super meta. If you watch any of my build guides, you will see that in all of my belts I have that, at least a tier 1 of cleanse ailment. And you know, if you have good positioning and you use your potions accordingly, you shouldn't worry too much about ailments. Keep in mind that the cleanse of ailments is not gonna do anything versus AoEs on the floor, right? If you walk into an AoE on the floor, that's just like you know, it's a telegraphed ability. You're not gonna be able to cleanse that. You can only cleanse the ailments you have on you. Bone Amulet, really good base, because it comes with up to 40% physical and necrotic reduction. Really good base. We're gonna try to switch to that pretty soon, but they're pretty expensive to gamble because it's hard to get a good implicit. I think I have a pretty decent one that I found. I'm gonna do that later. Again, right now with crit avoidance, 1000 HP and full resistances, I can't die, pretty much. Like in this current content, I literally can't die, especially if I'm using my damage reduction and so on. These are the Crusader gauntlets that I mentioned. You can see these ones, they're level 60, 64, which we just leveled to 64, and they come with up to 45 void resistance. So the idea now will be to replace these gloves, right? Since we're overcapped in necrotic resistance, get rid of these gloves, put on these gloves, get rid of this void resistance that we're getting here, and then try to get some good glove, like something useful on those gloves and a better relic, right? But that's gonna be something we'll probably do once we finish this timeline, because we wanna, you know, you gotta be careful with your economy, because every time you craft, you only have so many resources, right? And we used a lot of our guardians and our stabilities while doing this shift into void resistance. So you want to make sure that you're kind of gathering resistances, and when you reach a point where you can get upgrades, then you kind of like see what resources you have and you can do it all at the same time. Because if you try to do upgrades like every minute, you're gonna realize that when you actually need the upgrades, you already used all of your resources, right? So you kind of like want to make sure that you have goals at every like point, like the ones I'm doing on this episode. And once you have accomplished those goals, then you go back into hibernation basically and just like economy mode and just trying to gather more resources for your next big crafting session. Again, like I'm saying, with our current character, we could basically get away. We could reach empowered with our current character and not doing anything else. With the current gear, we could just get to empowered, no problem. And maybe the only thing I would upgrade would be like a weapon, right? If we get like a high enough level so we can get a better weapon. Again, Glyph of Stabilities we always grab and so on. Necrotic Rest could be really nice. It feels to me like right now I'm not using Mana Strike anymore, even on bosses, right? Because I have enough damage to just fucking destroy them. So I think we're also gonna get rid of we're gonna start changing our skills. I'm not using Mana Strike anymore. I don't need it. My sustain is good enough, right? With my crits and Glacier is not that expensive. I mean, it's 50 mana, but again, I'm getting mana back on kill, mana back on crit. I'm critting more most of the time, so I think we're gonna do that. We're gonna stop using this. I'm gonna spec into focus once again, like we previously did. And yeah, we're gonna get ready for this. We're gonna put it here, focus. So basically, how focus works, it has like a cooldown. You can use your mana, right? And the idea is that when you go negative, you can use focus, and you get this big burst, and you basically get your mana back. And since Glacier has like a big mana cost, it's pretty easy to go negative and then nail it like this, right? And just like that, you're kind of full again really quickly. So the idea is, you know, you do your rotation, you use your Glacier, you teleport away, you know, get your mana at negative, and then cast teleport really quick to get basically full. Let's keep going. I'm gonna go for the set item. Maybe we'll get something good. And again, worst case scenario is 500 gold just by selling it, right? playing with a character and you played for a couple days, you will see, like right now, this character is like, because it's only like a couple hours old, right? We just got into mono and stuff. Like right now we're kind of struggling with currency or with materials. But that's not gonna be the case at all after, you know, after when we reach empowered, you're gonna see I'm gonna have so much glyph of the guard inside. I won't even know what to do with it. I'll have so much. We're gonna get glyphs of the lizard. That's a good name. I like that. I think it's a good name. I wouldn't be opposed to that, you know. Using that glacier focus interaction that I mentioned to get my mana back really fast. Health regen, yeah, of the lizard is a modifier that that monsters get, and it gives them health regen indeed. I think of the lizard should be something a bit more menacing, you know, something that fits with my personality. But what can you do? We're gonna go for idols, maybe. We'll see. Again, this progression I'm doing it pretty slow, right? Because I'm going over, you know, I'm explaining everything. I'm showing all the crafting processes and why I'm doing things. Oh, huge. Class 1 to Flame Ward, boys. This is what we're looking for. And with Vitality, that's pretty good. That's basically what's gonna replace this eventually. Really, really good stuff. Poison resistance on top of it, very nice. That's why you have your loot filter, just highlight things, you know. If you know you're looking for something very specific, just add it to the loot filter and you're good to go. Added mana can be nice when we need to reach 300 mana, so I'll grab it. Okay, let's kill the guy who's on the bottom first. Oh no. He's on the other bottom. Siege Golem. These guys are tanky, so be careful. And again, remember they explode when they're 50% HP, just like that. I ran out of mana, couldn't kill it. Kill it there. Get our mana back with focus. Let's kill this other two. You have this bubble. This makes it so if you're not inside the bubble, you basically don't do a lot of damage to them. You gotta be inside the bubble. It's kind of like an anti-range mechanic. You can see if I'm outside, they barely take any damage. Herborian boots, movement speed. Wishan is asking me in the chat, going through the campaign, are any resistances more important than others? I kind of like covered this already in the other episodes, right? Because we did the campaign, they're on YouTube and you can find them there. But I would say like early on the first chapters, you want to get void resistance because you fight void enemies. Then you want to shift to necrotic and physical. Then you want to shift to elementals, and then for the last act you want to make sure you get poison, in that order. But you know, if you reach a cold area, you know, you want cold resistance. If you reach a fire area, you want fire resistance, kind of deal. And feel free, you know, to have to drop pieces during the campaign. Like if you're in the cold area and you have gloves, right, that have a lot of cold resistance, feel free to change them when you get to the fire area, because, you know, cold resistance is not going to be as important. But, you know, the idea is that you want to keep adding resistances into your, like, arsenal, into your gear, right? Without dropping the ones that you currently have. But I would say that you basically always want physical resistance because there's physical damage everywhere. And then early on you want void resistance, then you want necrotic resistance. Then necrotic resistance is not a problem until you can completely forget about necrotic resistance for the rest of the game, pretty much. And then you go for elementals and poison. Nah, like you can drop them. You can drop them completely. For example, with this character, we've been doing that all the time. Like for example, if I know I'm gonna get into an area that has a lot of void damage, I would just completely drop, you know, my necrotic resistance or whatever, and just equip a bunch of void resistance, right? For example, during the campaign, I had 100% void poison resistance, and I had 0% void, right, on the last chapter, because the last chapter has a lot of poison enemies and 0 void enemies. And now it's the opposite, right? I went back to void because I'm doing the void monolith, and everything is void pretty much. But there's no poison enemies, so I don't care, right, about poison. So you kind of like have to you can be flexible. Obviously the goal is like when you reach endgame, ideally you want to be covered against all resistances in all situations, right? Because once you get into arena, once you get into corruption, once you get into some of the high tier monoliths, like the enemies are not as thematic anymore. For example, in this monolith, everything's pretty much void. But when you get into the Reign of Winter and things like that, you're gonna be mixing enemies with all elements, right? And in the same map, you might have fire enemies, cold enemies, and necrotic enemies, right? Where normally that doesn't really happen on the early monoliths, and it's more thematic. So early on, you can just like, just think it's Pokemon. You know, when you play Pokemon, you know, if you go to a gym that is like all fire Pokemons, you want to bring your water Pokemons, but if you go to the water like area, you want to bring your lightning Pokemons and so on, right? It's kind of, and then eventually for the final bosses of the game, you need all the Pokemons because there's gonna be all the threats are gonna be there, right? I think that's a good analogy, basically. That's pretty nice. That's actually a really nice weapon because we might actually use this weapon. Because it comes with a lot of mana to reach 300 mana. This is an endgame weapon right here that we just dropped. Came with crit multi. Like this weapon, I'm gonna be able to use this weapon for the entire endgame basically once I craft on it. The reason I'm not gonna use it yet is because the skill that I'm using doesn't really need a catalyst, and right now this is way more damage than this. But when I switch to Orb on the endgame, which I might do for sure because look at the idols I'm getting. I got lightning damage, lightning damage, lightning damage, and lightning damage idols. And these idols give me double damage if I have 300 mana. So right now, obviously I'm not even close to 300 mana. I only have 190. But if I equip this with this, like I'm almost 300, right? And I could just get a catalyst with mana, and that would be it, right? We're gonna do that in the future. Right now it's better to just run the stuff like I'm doing. Again, because this ability has so much flat crit, Glacier has like 12% flat crit, plus the 5% crit you get from just being a character, like every character has 5. So we're running around with fucking 17 flat crit, right? So this ability is basically critting all the time, without any investment in crit, other than just my passives and, you know, like the passive, the skill points. The poison enemies are crazy in the later acts. I didn't have any reason I was playing so far, but wanted to try hard or not dying. Yeah. Again, if you want to see how to do it, Gurshan, like you have the first episodes in YouTube of this, and I show everything. I don't skip anything. I talk through everything, you know, and you can see how I do it, how I prepare for the last boss and things like that. And I do it really slow and really comprehensive, you know. So if you're a newer player, you can see why am I doing things, and I'm not trying to speedrun it, basically. I'm kind of like going at a normal pace so people can catch up on things. Ooh, refinement, Epoch. I would say once you know, unlike some of the other games, RPGs, like Path of Exile for example, this game I would say is pretty fair in hardcore. Like, in this game there's not like random one-shots and things like that. Some of the newer enemies are really dangerous. but you know that they're really dangerous. So in this game, playing hardcore and playing softcore for me, it's basically the same. Like you build the same way, you play the same way. The only difference is in hardcore you're a bit more careful, right? And you know, you might in softcore you might just go like, ah, fuck it, I'm just gonna go in under geared. Who cares? If I die, I die. And in hardcore you want to make sure that that's not the case, right? But it's not like playing a different game like in PoE, for example. It's like a completely different experience, which I found really enjoyable personally. Pretty good too. Well, damage, really nice. Yeah, I also have a few videos in YouTube that just talk about the game in general, you know, like how to craft, like golden rules of crafting, how to make sure you have good EHP, like effective health pool, some of the basic stuff, you know, because it's not rocket science, but as a new player, there's quite a bit of information and might as well just learn everything fast, right? That's pretty nice. Well, if you have an active token of them, that's pretty nice too. It's a really low roll though. It's a primalist. Alright, 2 more echoes and we get to kill the boss. Just check the YouTube save for later. Hey, no worries, dude. I'm here to help. My damage is pretty nice right now. This map is it's a bit of a labyrinth. This map, you can go up or you can go down. I like going up normally, but in this case I think it would have been shorter to go down. But again, this is level 66, I'm level 65, so I'm basically getting perfect experience. You want to be around the level, right? Around. So you're not getting any penalization on your XP or... There's not... Basically, if you are doing the content at the level you're supposed to do it, you get basically full XP. And at minimum difficulty, right? Like this is being very easy and I'm still getting a shit ton of XP. So it's like perfect. Because you're advancing at a really high rate without facing any threat and still getting really good XP, right? You don't want to be over leveled, otherwise you're barely gonna get any XP. And you don't want to be too under leveled, otherwise the content is gonna take you a long time to clear the content and then it's gonna be slow for you to progress. So this is like perfect. The content is easy and we still get a shit ton of XP. We just got a lot of good stuff here. We got a +1 to Flame Ward that I'm gonna try to get, so I get it already, that's 2. Oh, we get it, that's basically GG. And pretty good stuff. But first we gotta, in order to use that, we gotta get our crit avoidance somewhere else from our chest piece. Movement speed, increase health. My current ones are better. Rune of Shattering. Grab it, please. We start working on our cooldown, and now we're gonna go for the Archmage. We're still a bit far away when it comes to mana, but that's fine. Okay, more XP, Epoch. That's the last one before we go for the quest. Again, I spent a lot of time like talking and crafting in this episode because I thought it was important. But you know, if you're fast, you can get these timelines. You can do them in like 30 minutes, you know, like 40 minutes, 30 minutes. With this build, if I want it, and I just like go through the objective, you know, I don't explain everything. I just go straight line. We can get to the boss in literally half an hour. Here's another one. What's up, Monzo? How are you doing? How much does it take you to get to Empower Mono? If you're really fast and you skip some of the campaign, I think you can do it in like 5 hours, maybe? If you just, because you can start doing Monolith at level 30, you know? Like as soon as you get to the Oracle above in Act 5 or Act 6. Here, basically. Well, as soon as you get to the here, you can go. You do the catacombs basically. You can go do Monolith with a strong class, and it only takes like what, like maybe less than 2 hours to get there. And then I would say maybe in 3 hours you can probably reach Empowered. 4 hours, so like 5-6 hours. And if you do everything, I think Empowered is probably like 10 hours, I would say. 10 hours if you're you're not like speed running. If you're playing at the pace that I'm playing, you should get to Empowered, I think, in like 10 hours. And if you're speed running, you can do it in like 5. Maybe faster if you have like you're playing some crazy overpowered build, you know, like Release Javelin or something like that, and you just keep campaign. And obviously this is talking SSF, right? Because if you're playing with a twin character where you have a bunch of uniques to level and stuff, you can do it faster. Hello, Lone Star and friends, thank you for the raid. We're still doing the play with me kind of like series for YouTube. Getting there. Playing some Glacier. How is everyone doing? Welcome. So I think the campaign took us like what, like a bit less than, I think the first video is like, I think it's like a bit less than 5 hours, the entire campaign with every quest. And then it's gonna take you like 1 hour approximately per Monolith Island, and there's like what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so yeah, something like that. And obviously, all of this is in hardcore. If you did softcore, you can literally just like, you can just literally just like walk in a straight line, die 20 times, and just clear every boss. I was watching Lone Star. He was playing Lightning Meteor, and it's funny, I still don't have that helmet, and I played quite a bit this patch. I pretty much have every other unique from the patch, aside from some of the ones that you have to target farm, just because I've been lazy. Like I don't have, for example, the Void Quiver thingy, which I haven't seen anyone use. That quiver is fucking weird. It's like a quiver that gives you void bow damage when you're low HP. It looks pretty cool, but it doesn't seem that practical because of how marksman works. Well, I don't know, maybe there's a secret build there waiting to be unleashed. About to kill the Ryath now. You're gonna use it when you get it, Zekar? What's up, by the way? Hello. Heavy was messing with it? I don't know, like, I thought about using it, but I went to the last Epoch tools and I played a bit with the planner, and I was like, what am I doing this for? What is the upside of using this? And I couldn't give myself a single reason. Like, why would I play this? over like just regular. But I had no answer. Well, I drop interest. Alright, let's go. This is pretty straightforward, this quest. You just go up the hill, you know, and kill the... there's 2 mini bosses. Intelligence spoke. What did I try to build with the quiver? I tried to build a multi-shot. I also thought about using detonating arrow, since detonating arrow has like 100% conversion, so you don't need to build void damage, right? But it's like the hard part about that build is like the low life aspect. Like being low life kind of sucks on marksman, because you know you have sustain, built-in sustain, right? I was thinking also on maybe pairing it with the heart of the Okros or whatever, the relic that the dragon drops. But then it's like, what spell am I gonna manually cast? Because I thought maybe it would work with bow mage, but it obviously is, you're not. It needs to be manual cast, right, of elemental spell. So again, it ended up being just like everything that I could come up with was just worse than regular, regular version. So. And again, how am I gonna get the... I was thinking also, how do I do the low life version? Because if I did that, Zekar, I would have done... Like, I would probably use... what's it called? I would use... Dreklar's Compass, maybe? Dreklar's Compass, just because it comes with a shit ton of flat damage. And a lot of stanchions and stuff, right? And then I would have used a quiver, and I would have used also Morning Frost, well, the boots, and I would just go full glass cannon, right? I would just go glass cannon, and hopefully I kill stuff before it kills me. But it honestly sounded, you would literally run around with 200 HP and just being used, and maybe go full dexterity, right? Because go full dodge, since you're low life anyway, right? Just go literally full dodge with the guaranteed dodges and build dash routes, right? Since you... So when you actually don't dodge, you proc the dash out and you get like 2000 worth or whatever, right? And literally build 0 HP and go full dexterity, full dodge. The reason I would do Morning Frost is, well, obviously you're gonna be building dexterity, right? So, if you're going low life, life is useless, so might as well just go full dodge and commit to the glass cannon playstyle, right? And since you're low life, if you go for, how's it called? The smoke shroud thing is, right? The guaranteed dodge that give ward when they proc. Everything just kind of made sense, but I don't know, maybe I'll try it again. Alright, we're doing Raya now. This boss is pretty simple, but it's also a boss that new players seem to struggle against. Once you know this boss, you can basically do it without getting hit once. He does this attack, which is just projectiles. Just juke them, pretty much. He has this big explosion. He just goes, he does it a couple times. You know, just juke around him, you can outrun him. And he does this thing, bait it, and he will, you don't need to dash, right? He will dash into a direction. Oh, he's gonna do the cheese. The cheese is just, you just run, basically, like this. And then he has this phase where he casts minions. And again, like I'm saying, if you are familiar with this boss, he will never hit you. And then he had this, that does a lot of damage, like dash. He's gonna do the dash now, we bait it. Again, pretty straightforward, like I say. He's gonna do the spinny boy. He did the spinny boy. Bait the dash. And now we're probably just gonna kill him. If you're scared of your ability to juke, when he goes into this like damage stance ability, just preventively use your damage reduction, you know? Your flame ward, your static orb, just in case, you know. If you have enough movement speed and enough cast speed, you're gonna be able to attack him while you're doing this spinny thing also. But right now I'm pretty slow and I don't have tier 5 movement speed, so... And that's it. And now we get Atrophy. That's actually pretty nice, that we get the Void Res. And the spell damage leech is also nice. I don't know what I'm gonna go for. Maybe I'm gonna go for the Void Res, honestly, because with the gloves and this, I forget about Void Res. It's a shame with minimum rolled, but you can also get crit multi, crit chance. This Echo is really good. I think I'm gonna go for the Void Res, just because we have access to Crusader gauntlets now. I have a bunch of useless Void Resistance on my gear. I think that's what I'm gonna do. We got the gloves. And Undead Scroll, that's really bad. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We did it. Epoch. And now we go to the next one. For our next timeline, we're gonna go for Ending the Storm. In this timeline, we will fight Lagon again. And again, in this timeline, most of the damage is elemental. So I highly recommend, make sure you have your elemental resistance covered. And some of the enemies in this timeline are actually pretty annoying. You know, you get Meruna Sirens, you get elementals, you get some of the snakes. So I would say this Monolith, kind of like, you will definitely feel like a bit of a gap in difficulty. It's not very big, and if your character is well built like mine, it's gonna be really easy, but keep it in mind. And also this is level 75. Again, our character, we finished at level 66, and hopefully before we end this Monolith, we're gonna be close to 75, right? And again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next episode that will start right here.